Hi, my name is Nadia, and I'm a representative of the United Nations. I'm here to talk to you today about my experiences with female genital mutilation, as well as to educate you about this global health issue. I was born and grew up in Jakarta, Indonesia, where 97% of surveyed females from Muslim families are mutilated by the age of 18. When I was 9 years old, a lot of girls in my community had already had the procedure done. You were segregated if you had not and were told that you were unclean. The day I was mutilated, I was taken into a dark room following sunset. I did not feel that I had any reason to fear the woman inside because my mother was there. The minute I was seated, the woman held me down, yanked my dress up, and pulled my legs apart. She reached into her bag and dozens of rusty blades fell out. She then pulled my clitoris so hard that I remember screaming for my mom as she made one sharp cut. The next thing I remember is feeling my whole body was on fire. I couldn't breathe, I called for my mother, and I screamed for them to stop. All of this was happening and I was only 9 years old. Female genital mutilation affects 200 million people worldwide. That's the equivalent to the population of the UK, Spain, France, and Australia combined. There are 4 types of female genital mutilation. The first type refers to a clitoridectomy, which is partial or total removal of the clitoris. Type 2 consists of partial or total removal of the clitoris and labia minora. Type 3 is a narrowing of the vaginal orifice through infibulation, also known as stitching, and Type 4 involves other damaging practices to the female genitalia. For the most part, these procedures are performed by non-medical professionals using instruments like penknives and scissors. The use of non-sterilized equipment can lead to post-procedure complications such as infections, incomplete healing, damage to surrounding organs, sterility, and even death. When I became pregnant later on in life, I faced many birth complications because of my mutilation. So if there are many negative consequences associated with FGM, then why is it still prevalent? The continuance of this procedure stems from tradition. In affected regions, it is believed that when a female is mutilated, she is granted passage to womanhood, the cleanliness of her sexual organs is ensured, and there is control over her sexuality, thus protecting her virginity prior to marriage. As FGM is a social expectation, men expect their future brides to be mutilated. This makes women worth more as they are deemed suitable for marriage. FGM stems from a preconceived notion that is of religious value. However, this is a common misbelief as it has never been directly mentioned in any religious text. Controversy began to emerge in the Western world regarding the legitimacy of FGM. It was clear that global action was needed. Article 3 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights states that everyone has the right to life, liberty, and the security of person. FGM breaches this right by labeling girls as impotent entities and putting them through a dangerous and life-altering procedure. Grassroots movements started to arise to oppose this practice, and in 1975, the first International Women's Day was launched by the United Nations, and the consequences of FGM was broadcasted on a global scale. This sparked national leaders to take action within their own borders. 4 proposed solutions included educating members of the community on the negative health consequences of FGM, promoting equality by giving women the same political, educational, and economic opportunities as men to reduce oppression, targeting children through early education which can generate confidence in young girls to be able to reject these values and refuse a procedure in the future, and finally looking to religious leaders to educate societies on the true principles of their faith and medical experts to persuade and use careful explanation of FGM to discourage its practice. Now, what has Canada done? Developed countries such as Canada have taken global action to help regions suffering from the practice of FGM. One of Canada's largest non-governmental organizations that works abroad is Islamic Relief Canada. This NGO evolves around the eradication of gender-based violence in Indonesia, where mutilation is a prevalent problem. Canadians should also be aware of the effect of FGM within their own borders. Physicians caring for immigrant women who have undergone FGM must be culturally competent in this global health issue in order to respectfully educate the victims on its consequences. Female genital mutilation is an ancient practice that has been ingrained into cultures for centuries. Unfortunately, many are blind to its negative biological, psychological, and sociological effects on afflicted women, and it continues to persist worldwide. In order to improve the global health issue of female genital mutilation, there needs to be a shift in ideology regarding this practice and resource allocation to promote change. Thank you for listening, and I hope you learned a lot on female genital mutilation.